This is episode 5 of Grown Up Punk.
Welcome to...
Did you like that intro?
Which one?
From
The Offspring?
From The Offspring.
Welcome,
yeah, welcome to episode 4 of Growing Up Punk. I'm assuming you caught the reference.
I did.
Okay, good. I played it for someone at work. They're like, why did you do that? And I was like, now I have to go back and I have to play Americana and the first, track on that. And then they're like, that's pretty good. Chuckle, chuckle. I'm like, what? I hate it when you have to explain jokes. So
yeah,
whatever. It was an idea that came to me literally as I was recording. So that's a good time. But, welcome to Growing Up Punk, the podcast about punk rock and all of its friends with that guy. His name is Aaron. Say hello, Aaron.
What's going on, David?
See, there it is again. Can never get him to say hello, and he got it. My name is David. So we like to talk about, right now, we are specifically talking about punk bands basically from the 90s is what it boils down to, because when you grow up, you start as a youngin', you start at a certain time, and you get older. So the idea is we're starting with some of the earlier bands that got us into the genre of punk rock. So today we're going to talk about a little band called Ghoti Hook, which for some of our listeners, they're going to be like, heck yes. And for some of our listeners, they're going to be like, who? So we'll get into that. But before we get into that, what's new in the life of Aaron?
Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah, man, we got to be conversational. See, we got to at least act like we're, friends outside of the pod.
Yeah, what's new? I'm going to smoke some meat tomorrow for a work thing I'm doing on Friday. So
that's not even a good euphemism. That's just straight up. You're just making inappropriate jokes. Smoke some meat. I'll let you sit on that. No, I'll let you... I'll let that one marinate for a few minutes. There's another meat joke, but anyway. So what are you making?
Some pork shoulders and some ribs.
Yeah. Oh, this is an excellent time to I guess pimp your Instagram, because if you want to see all the meat adventures that Aaron goes on, go find that guy on Instagram at Aaron Grew Up Punk. You can also find myself on Instagram and Twitter at David Growing Up. And then find, the show is on Twitter at Growing Punk Pod and on Instagram at Growing Up Punk. It's everywhere, whatever. Just look for it. You'll find it. I guess the only ones we really need to throw out there are our personal ones.
My Instagram's the only place online to find pictures of smoked meat and Ghoti Hook. So
there you go. It is the official Instagram of Smoked Meat and Ghoti Hook. I like it.
Yes, I will claim that.
I like it. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, what about with you?
Real quick, I did want to, I tweeted earlier a day or so ago from when we're recording this. By the time this comes out, it won't be a day or two ago. But I tweeted how a couple of podcasts, I almost tweeted a couple of podcasts have single-handedly gotten me back into podcasts. Nice. But that doesn't make sense because that would just be one podcast that single-handedly got me back into podcasts.
And it wasn't even ours.
Wasn't even ours. That's the funny thing is I host a podcast. I've hosted a number of podcasts over the years, and I go through seasons of listening to podcasts. It depends on, what I'm doing with my life. But more recently, I've found a couple that I search out and make sure I listen to. One I think I've talked about before being Jimmy Eat Pod. Yeah. Which is, a podcast all about Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah, I still need to listen to that.
It's been fun. Yeah. And it's funny because so far most of the songs they've covered, I think they're 5 episodes in, but most of them have been early Jimmy Eat World, stuff I'm not super familiar with. The latest one was Dizzy, which is the last track off Chase the Light or whatever, which is great. But and then also another one, which I think I sent to you, was Columbia House Party.
Yeah, I love Columbia House.
Yeah. So have you started listening to it?
Not yet.
So you're just you just love Columbia House getting CDs for 99 cents.
Dude, that was, I don't know if I actually ever signed up for that. I don't know if I would have been allowed to or not. Yeah. I just remember thinking obviously back then that was the best deal ever. until you realize, 12 CDs for a cent when you buy 20 CDs at normal price over the next year or something.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I do remember seeing MXPX in there and being super stoked.
Yeah. I know my parents, I think they for sure signed up for it once. I don't remember the CDs we got, if there was anything in there that I enjoyed. But I mean, think about that. That is incredibly awesome if you're a person who's going to buy music, right? Like, that's how I justified signing up for my first streaming service, was like, well, if I'm on average going to buy one album a month, why not just pay for a streaming service and get all of them, right? So like the idea of Columbia House just being like, yo, here's a bunch of CDs. Now they were like, if I recall, they had like special kind of like releases or pressings or whatever you want to call it for like those Columbia House things, so they'd be like labeled differently than if you went to the store and bought them. I don't know if they ever like cut back on, say, like liner notes and like stuff like liners and stuff like that. But it's so crazy. But anyways, the podcast Columbia House Party, they are. I as soon as I started listening, they've done at this time, I think they are 3 episodes in. Yeah. But I was listening to the first one, which is about Pinkerton by Weezer, which is one of my all-time favorite records to begin with. And like the intro that they have on that thing, and what turns out the intro that they have on every episode, the work they put into that. I was on Twitter immediately being like, I feel inadequate as a podcast host compared to these intros, because like just what I don't know how long it takes, how much work they actually put into those intros. For all I know, it could literally be like a 10-minute process, because Buddy's got he's got it down to a science. But putting that thing on, I was like, if you're a fan of pop punk, alternative rock sort of stuff, because so far the 3 episodes they've done are Weezer, Pinkerton, My Chemical Romance, Black Parade, and Fall Out Boy, Under the Cork Tree. And so I think, like, for the most part, that's the direction kind of they're heading and talking about these albums. But they do some really great work. So I mean, you're listening to a music podcast right now, so I assume you enjoy music podcasts. So why not head on out and check another one? And they're Canadian, nice. Good old Canadian boys, yeah. But anyways, the whole reason I wanted to say that actually was because I wanted to throw a shout out to Justin from Jimmy Eat Pod, because he was listening to our Offspring episode and we were talking about my broken glasses on the episode, right? And so he tweeted out, he says, 3 pairs of glasses, 2 arms snapped off, 1 great dad. So I said, he's currently running the podcast because he's sacrificed the most pairs of glasses to being a dad. So that's pretty awesome. So shout out to Justin from Jimmy Eat Pod. But yeah, some great music podcasts right now that have just dragged me back in.
Awesome.
Makes me want to go on road trips and stuff. Cause I have to, that's my problem, is I have to listen to them in like segments.
Yeah.
My drive to work's not long enough. Right. So segments it is, but, yeah. So, I did want to talk about, before we get into the episode, about Ghoti Hook. I've been trying to narrow down, as have you, my top 5 albums of 2019. You were complaining.
And Ghoti Hook made the list?
Well, that's impossible. They haven't had an album since 2006, I think that final EP was, maybe?
Yeah,
no,
5,
must have been,
I think.
When was that? I realized I didn't write the date of that one. I just wrote the name of it. But no, but I was going to say, you were complaining because you were like, man, I can't narrow it down. There's been so many great albums. And then I was like, nah, dude, like my top 5 is easy. My number 1 is by like far and away super. And then I started actually looking at what came out this year. And I was like, oh, shoot, I actually need to go back and I need to listen. So I like,
that's how you make a top
picture.
List. You go back throughout the year and you see what's come out. And
yeah. And so it's funny because, I mean, it's still my number 1 pick has been, and I don't think it'll change. It's easily the one I've listened to the most this year. And I'm not giving it away yet, but yeah, it was kind of funny because I like tweeted out a picture of just like this list I made. It was like my top 5 all of a sudden became, a top 18. So I'm like, I'm in trouble. Let's do it.
6-part series.
Shouldn't it be top 19 of 2019 then?
Wow.
Top 19 of 19. Yeah, no. So I've been working through that a little bit, which meant I didn't listen to Ghoti Hook as much as maybe I planned, but they also don't have nearly as many records.
Yeah.
But I did want to say, out of all of that, going through the albums, trying to pick my tops for this year, because it's November now. It's getting towards the end of November. We're past middle of November. We're past the early November. if I can make a music joke.
You can.
I can. It's the right place. But all I could say is I'm actually quite excited for the new Angels and Airwaves record. I don't know when it comes out because I don't think they've announced a date, but some of their songs popped up because, of course, they released singles this year. I'm like, Tom DeLonge is just easily one of like my favorite songwriters.
So I'm still good.
Yeah.
I haven't really kept up with that band at all.
That's your fault and your loss. Like I'm not in the camp where, it's like, Blink sucks without Tom. I think like Blink's gone their own way. Matt Skiba is, a part of Blink now. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I didn't mind 9 this year. It's not making spoiler alert, it's not making my top 5 list. In fact, I didn't even include it on my top, the 18 albums that I was going through. But Tom DeLonge, just because his Angels and Airwaves songs are still Tom DeLonge songs, I think is what it boils down to. So I was listening to Rebel Girl and
I did watch the video for that, whatever Kiss Me video or whatever it was called,
Kiss and Tell or Don't Kiss and Tell or whatever. So I don't know. I'm into it. It'll be good. But so kind of was distracting me a little bit from listening to Ghoti Hook, and then eventually distracting me from narrowing down my top albums of 2018. But
well, we've had like 20 years to listen to Ghoti Hook, so I think that's okay.
That's fair. And you know what? It's all excusable for me because it's my birthday tomorrow.
Wow, happy pre-birthday.
Yeah, happy pre-birthday is right.
When this comes out, happy birthday post.
Yeah, it'll be depending on when it comes out. But what I wanted to say with that was I'm turning. How old are you?
How old do I look?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to guess you're.
Don't base it
34.
off the white hair.
No, I'm saying you're 34.
35, off by 1.
Okay. So when did you turn 35?
January. So almost 36.
Oh, so yeah. So you almost have a full year on me because I'm turning 35. But I was laughing because I was sitting at work and I was watching this YouTube. I was watching this thing called YouTube, and I don't know if you've heard of it. But this video came up from a YouTuber by the name of Wheezy Waiter. And I haven't listened to or watched a Wheezy Waiter video in some time, but the thing caught my eye. It was like, we walked 10,000 steps in 1 month, and this is what happened. Or 10,000 steps each day for 1 month.
Okay. I was going to say in 1 month. That's
what he's really lazy. And so it was interesting because I'm going through those things where I'm like, man, I'm turning 35, getting old. I should probably take care of myself better. So I'm gonna attempt to do the 10,000 steps a day for a month. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, do it.
I'm already setting myself up for failure by saying I don't think it'll happen.
You just got to walk on the spot a lot.
Yeah, right. Just walk.
Does that count?
I'm hoping I think it probably maybe does.
Does anything need to go down to the basement tonight, or?
Just always make sure I have my phone with me. The one side that I'm kind of intrigued and looking forward to by attempting that though is actually the ability to just find more time to listen to music and podcasts, especially if I intentionally go for a walk.
Yeah.
Right. It's a great time. So, but it's also winter basically. So I can see this plan falling apart real quick if the 10,000 steps are comprised of me walking the halls at my work and, back and forth on my main floor of my house. I could see that getting tired real quick.
You just need a treadmill, and you can do the podcast while walking on the treadmill.
I'll just be out of breath the whole time.
So, guys,
this is my favorite album by. I don't think that'll happen. But who knows? We shall see. But I kind of alluded to right there saying, I don't know when this will come out in regards, in relation to my birthday, because we are going to be changing schedules up a little bit. We're going to be messing with things a bit. We're going to keep doing the show the way we're doing the show. So this is episode 5. If you haven't noticed, those of you that have been listening, the episodes that are labeled episode are literally just Aaron and I talking about a specific band. We've obviously also got our interviews with, which Aaron, we just released one that you did with Dan Thomas, formerly of The Undecided, which is real cool. And then we'll continuing going forward. We'll probably still have, I think I still have some Lost Tapes episodes that I want to release. So we're going to I hope to somehow keep, doing the, one release a week going.
Yeah.
But I
got lots of sweet interviews coming up. So
yeah. So Aaron's getting down to work in regards to that. I may have some that I line up as well. Aaron's just he's got his nose to the ground, just sniffing out these interviews. It's it's kind of impressive to watch, especially like all these old school. I know that you're kind of, as a bit of a teaser, aiming for some like old school tooth and nail bands. So I know there's a specific group of our audience that'll enjoy that, but I think like our recording schedule is going to change a little bit. So these episodes might be once every 2 weeks. We'll see how it goes. I say this all because I've got another podcast in the works that all I'm going to say right now is that if you found yourself a fan of pop punk in the mid 2000s, I mean, this band's still going today, but like that's their boom was the mid 2000s.
POD boom, was that the hint?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, POD, the pop punkest of all pop punk bands.
So as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, that was set up for such a bad dad.
That's fair. But yeah, so that podcast won't be released under the Growing Up Punk umbrella by any means. It's going to have its own podcast page, but I'm telling you this now because if you're all of a sudden like, hey, wait a minute, why are these episodes? I mean, last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, we released like 3 episodes in a week. Like that for sure won't be happening on the regular basis. We're going to try and keep the 1 episode a week sort of thing going, which is cool. But I will say this is all I'll say about that other podcast. It's called Me and Pete. And if you can figure it out from there, you win as to what the podcast is about. But you'll just see me posting about Me and Pete probably on the Growing Up Punk social medias because I don't want to start another social media. I don't. Are you kidding me? I've already done this once.
Yeah.
I want to start another one. So. Yeah, but it will have its own podcast page. So when that's ready to go, I'll be letting you know. But that is neither here nor there because tonight, good sir, we are sitting down to talk about one of the worst produced bands in the history of Tooth and Nail Records.
Oh, man.
Ghoti Hook.
Yeah, what happened with that?
I didn't actually look it up. There's got to be a story as to why that is the case with Ghoti Hook. Like, I mean, if you've never, obviously, maybe you're listening to this episode and you never have heard Ghoti Hook before, outside of that clip I just played. But the thing with Ghoti Hook is I want to say probably their most popular album is also easily their worst sounding album. That being Banana Man. The guitar tones on that album are just like I don't know why they went the direction.
Yeah, and I think I remember seeing something about what happened, or that maybe they should get it remixed, or I don't know what it was, but yeah, like it's just very thin sounding.
Very much.
And
which is, well, I was gonna say is interesting because them, they're a band on Tooth and Nail Records, and at that time, I feel like I don't know who produced Banana Man. I could look that up, and maybe I'll stall by talking. But
I remember looking it up, and I didn't really recognize who it was.
Yeah, because like that's the thing is like I want to say around that time. So that came out in 1997. So a good number of Tooth and Nail bands were working with like Steve Kravac at that time. Right?
Man, that would maybe
and so
yeah would have been cool to see what that sounded like with a better producer.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find. I don't on Discogs. I don't see like it doesn't list the producer, engineer, or anything like that. So I'm not 100% sure. And without having the CD in front of me, I couldn't tell you. Maybe on their Wikipedia it says. I doubt it, but
yeah,
we'll check here real quick.
It's a name I didn't recognize, and maybe it was just like a friend or something, or who knows.
Yeah. Well, maybe this will have it. No, not there. Cool. Yep. Nope. Doesn't look like it does. But yeah. Anyway, it's if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. I mean, I don't think Sumo Surprise, their first album, sounded a ton better.
Yeah, it's not amazing. I mean, that's what you'd expect for early to mid '90s punk rock album. Not terrible, not amazing.
I suppose. Yeah. It is its thing. So before we get kind of into all of that. How did you actually hear about Ghoti Hook to begin with?
Yeah, I can't really remember the specific time or whatever. I'm assuming it was off of a sampler, maybe even songs from the Penalty Box 1, or another good option could have been from like a merchandise catalog where they used to have pictures of the bands and like a little write up or something. And I think they just kind of caught my eye because they just looked punk rock and just that kind of goofiness to them that, you know, attracts 13-year-old boys. And that sounds weird, but you know what I mean.
Oh man, that needs to be like.
I guess to give some more context to that,
You were 13 years old?
well, yeah, I was probably around there. But, you know, even thinking of bands like, you know, Blink and just kind of that like potty humor and, you know, funny imagery and I don't know,
Right.
bleached hair and whatnot.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad you said that though. I'm trying to see if they were on what samplers they may have been. What is this? Oh, this is just like it's a triple pack of punk.
Yeah.
What? Tooth and Nail. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
The Tooth and Nail triple pack of punk. I never saw it. Slick Shoes, Value Pack, and Ghoti Hook. That's pretty cool.
I don't know if they were on anything before Penalty Box 1. Like, that was, I think, like their first kind of major sampler.
Yeah, I was trying to see. I was trying to find Discogs doesn't. I was hoping they listed, like, maybe they do for some bands, but for Ghoti Hook they don't have it. Like when they appeared on compilations and stuff. Oh, appearances, 25 compilations. This should, unless that's because I bet you that's that triple pack punk. Oh no, let's see. They had. So as far as Tooth and Nail was concerned, the first thing they had Shrinky Dinks on Tooth and Nail Record Sampler Volume 3.
Those
and then,
old school ones, right?
Yeah, they had Scared Am I on I'm Your Biggest Fan, Volume 1.
Oh, I have that on tape. I don't remember that song.
Oh, amazing. They have Love by the Numbers on the 4th anniversary box set for Tooth and Nail. I'm not sure what that was. Yeah. Okay, so they had Seasons on Songs from the Penalty Box.
Yeah. So that was most likely my first introduction to them was getting that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I cannot remember for the life of me, like, the first time I heard Ghoti Hook. It was probably the same thing, right? Like, just hearing them on a sampler or, like, a compilation, or potentially just hearing from them or hearing about them from, say, like, my cousins or something along those lines who were also into, you know, like, the Tooth and Nail bands, and then as growing up, you know, more into punk rock bands and stuff. Like, so, I mean, it's probably that, or it just so happened that I had heard the name, and there was a time where I was in the Christian bookstore, and I saw Banana Man, and I bought it, because that was the only Slick Shoes record I ever owned, was Banana Man.
Slick Shoes?
And then Slick Shoes, you know, Ghoti Hook. Same thing? No, not even close. But yeah, that was the only Ghoti Hook record I ever owned was Banana Man. And I really enjoyed it. Like, I can remember listening to it a ton. And when I put it on, I remember every single song. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have a specific moment where I was like, oh, Ghoti Hook, here's a band. And I had friends that owned every other one of their full-length albums. And so, like, I heard those albums through them, sort of thing. And then eventually, you know, once streaming services became a thing, kind of listened to them more when I'd be like, I want to listen to Ghoti Hook for whatever reason, right? So, but yeah, I don't remember a specific moment, but do you remember exactly kind of like what hooked you when you first heard Ghoti Hook and why you decided to, you know, seek out more of their stuff?
I think it was just being a Tooth and Nail punk album, just being at that time where kind of anything that sounded like that caught my attention. And I think that, I know that Sumo Surprise was the first CD that I think I bought. Like, I had CDs before that, but I think that was the first one that I bought myself. And I got it in a town where I had some family, and then I got a ride to Winnipeg with this trucker. And that, like, Mike's.
And you're a 13-year-old boy. That sounds like just a My goodness, Aaron! Wow, this episode has gone an entirely different direction than I could have foreseen.
My uncle worked at, like, an RV company, and some, like, parts guy was going to Winnipeg, and I had stayed back to hang with my cousin. So, anyways, that just stays in my mind. I was in this semi listening to this CD, and so in my Discman, and so yeah, I think it was just that era and another band that just sounded awesome and intrigued me.
Yeah. That's awesome. He's got a ride to Winnipeg with his trucker. It was so random. I mean, yeah, I was definitely. This was one of those bands, and this becomes one of their faults as well, I think, down the line. one of those bands where for me growing up and going to like youth group and whatever, they were one of those bands that you could listen to at youth group with, your friends or whatever. That was going to be fine. And they were, they weren't always serious. And I think like as time went on, because I think even on 2 Years to Never, they still had, kind of fun songs that weren't as serious, even though they clearly got a whole lot more serious. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But, just like looking at those first 2 records, they definitely had lighthearted songs. Like the first song that I can remember just being hooked on by Ghoti Hook was My Bike, right? Yeah. Like, and like, I remember I was covering it, like I was playing, just jamming with a buddy and I was playing it and he just made fun of me because like, just how the chorus, like, my, I, la, ya, ya, yike, my, ba, ya. And he was just laughing. He's playing drums and he's like, man, like your mouth, is opening at the exact same time as I was like strumming the guitar, and he just thought it was so funny that it looked like my chin, my jaw was on like a string to my hand strumming, and it just like I was like opening it with my hand. It was kind of funny, but yeah, like they were just goofy, they were lighthearted, they were fun. But I think that also for me, when I look back on the band, also kind of plays into their shortcomings a little bit. Yeah. Like, so if we look at like their discography, we mentioned Sumo Surprise, which came out, I mean, they were just throwing out albums. Sumo Surprise came out in 1996. Banana Man came out in 1997. Songs We Didn't Write came out in 1998. Wow. 2 Years to Never, they finally took a break. Yeah, came out in 2000. Crazy. And then the 6 songs EP, which I could not listen to. I tried, and I was like, I can't get into it. I didn't write when that came out, but that was a couple years after.
2005, so it was, wow. I think it was off Tooth and Nail, and they'd kind of taken a break.
Yeah, I think for sure was. I do have their discography open here, so I could confirm. But I just found like those first 2 records, when I go back and listen to them, 6 songs was on Velvet Blue Music, came out in 2002. Oh, 2002. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. They had the artwork for their Rest in Peace CD that came out on Tooth and Nail Records. I don't know if was that like live or what was that?
Well, they had a live one, and I think they had a best of, or retrospective was the best of.
Retrospective was a best of. Yeah. I'd never seen this R.I.P. like Ghoti Hook R.I.P. Yeah. It came out in 2003 until like now.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, recorded at Cornerstone Festival, so that's their farewell show. Yeah, that's cool. I want to find that. I don't know that was on Apple Music for me. I would have listened to that for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's on Spotify either.
Someone needs to sync that up too, because I feel like I've heard or like seen the footage of their like farewell show. Yeah, I feel like someone needs to like sync that footage up with this live album. It'd be a good time for sure. But yeah, so for me, the downfall with Ghoti Hook for a lot of it would later, like when I go back and visit those albums, is their lyrics, right? Like they are when I mention like the whole like youth group thing, right? Like being able to listen to them at youth group. Now the band formed as like friends in youth group, right? So it only makes sense that they were writing these songs that, were good for singing in youth. But I just like taking a couple things, like they were just very Sunday school at times. And the humor was like, for me, was like up the same alley as like VeggieTales, which like,
man, that's bad.
Oh, it is. Those first 2 albums, it is bad. Like it's real bad. I think like when they try to get funny.
I don't know if I take it that far, but yeah, I totally get.
That's just what it reminds me of, right? Yeah. Like, just like it's obviously there. It's very clean, which is fine, but it's also very childish. Yeah, and then also trying to present the gospel within that in some instances, right? And that's where I go, okay, it gets a little too much for me, but yeah, I was listening to Sumo Surprise and like Ookla the Punk came on, and all I could picture was like a youth pastor in the mid-90s. Yeah, a youth pastor in the mid-90s, with his goatee going on and basically being
goatee?
Like, or like, yeah, goatee, yeah. Or like maybe a Bible college RA or whatever that was just like, have you heard the parable of Ookla the Punk? Like, you know what I mean? Like just going into like sharing it, like, yeah, it's this super cool Bible story sort of thing. And it's just like, it can't, like it doesn't. And I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't know where the band sits, in their life now, but if they were to get back together and play reunion shows, guaranteed they're not playing Ookla the Punk.
Yeah.
But, like I wonder some of those older songs, what would they play, right? Like they're a band for sure that I'm like, I kind of wish they had the lyrics of 2 Years to Never alongside the production of 2 Years to Never with the energy and the youthfulness of Banana Man.
Yeah, that would have been a good combo.
It would have been a great combo because, yeah, I don't know where you stand on their lyrics. If you have any favorite lyrics or weird lyrics or what you take away from them.
Well, I'm thankful that I didn't really. Well, I don't recall picking up on a lot of that, in my youth, because I just probably thought, oh, this is hilarious because I'm a pre-pubertized teenager and or whatever, like.
Yeah.
But obviously now, so much time has gone by. It's a little hard to listen to, but yeah, I don't remember like being bothered by it. I just think I just thought it was funny or whatever.
And I wasn't bothered by it, like growing up either. Like, cause like I said, it was like, you knew you could listen to this when you had your youth all-nighter. You had to stay up all night. You could listen to Ghoti Hook. You could listen to Ghoti Hook, in the youth van on the way to like roller skating or whatever, right? Like that was perfectly acceptable. I could crank it, to max in my room and not worry about, oh, my parents would be like, what is he listening to? I mean, they would definitely be annoyed at the kind of music,
yeah.
But like lyrically, they wouldn't be questioning it. Although they might be like,
who's
why
Ookla?
would they sing about that? Who's Ookla? And why are they singing about this box? And
yeah,
like, I still don't get that.
Yeah, I think it was just one of their weird quirks. However, they did each album like still had some serious songs. Like on Sumo Surprise was I think about like a friend dying in a car accident or something, and Estevan I think on Banana Man is about like sexual abuse. So they still touched on those topics. And
you mean it's not about Estevan, Saskatchewan?
Well, it might be. Might be about 13-year-olds in semis in Estevan.
Yeah, Value Pack wrote a song that was like named after someplace in Alberta.
Oh, really?
I can't remember.
Wow.
Yeah, it was on like this album that you can't like. It's not on streaming services.
I'll have to ask about that.
I could be wrong as to what the story behind the song is, but hold on, you can kind of keep. I want to see if I can find this. If it should come up on Discogs, and I'll see what the name of the song was because it should become fairly obvious if it. So it was on Incognito. I want to say.
Oh, okay, like that was the Value Pack one, yeah.
Yeah. It's called Stony Plains. So I mean, I don't know. I remember thinking like when it came out, I was like, is that about like something to do with Stony Plain? Because Stony Plain, although I don't think Value Pack ever played, was also like the original host site for a festival up here that was called Harvest Moon. Which I saw like the Undecided play at. I saw 1,000 Foot Crutch. Slick Shoes was supposed to play, but they got stuck at the border.
I saw MXPX there.
I would say MXPX I think played the final year that it happened. But yeah, by that point it was in Edmonton, but it started out in Stony Plain. But I don't know what that song is about. Like it could just be purely a coincidence. But I remember seeing that title and being like, huh, interesting. But Value Pack is for an episode later, not right now.
I do wonder with the writing, like how they kind of chose that. Was it just like, we've got nothing more to say, or this just is what it is, or like with
like the box?
Well, just with their lyrics, like why was there so many joke songs and just kind of a few serious ones sprinkled in there? Maybe that was just what they wanted. Like there was obviously still things going on to make them write about that, but
I think like the joke songs, I think part of that's just like where they were at as far as being growing up human beings are concerned, right? Like songs like My Bike and stuff like that sound like things that I would think were funny with my friends in youth group, like if I were to write a joke song, right? Like I think like it comes across that way. As far as why they had on Banana Man, they had 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 versions. I think there's actually 5 versions of The Box on Banana Man. One of them is called Untitled Track for some reason, but it is just The Box.
Right.
Well, okay, hold on. Actually, Wikipedia says something about The Box. Let's see what it tells us. The Box is the name of 4 separate tracks, all the same song played at different speeds. The Untitled Track is 3 seconds long and consists of someone yelling in Spanish. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Did it go from The Box though? I felt like no. Okay, but yeah, there's 4 different. Like, I mean, when I was that age, though, listening to that, I thought it was hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Like, and to put a guy in a banana suit on the cover, I was like, yeah, you see that at like, now, I don't know if it's because of Ghoti Hook, but I feel like there was a time there going to like Christian festivals or whatever, someone would always be dressed up in a banana suit. It was just the way it was.
Well, I wonder if that like prevented them from like playing with more well-known bands. I can't really ever recall hearing them touring with any, like secular, so to speak, bands. I wonder if that was just by choice or if bands looked at them being like, yeah, that just looks kind of lame.
Well, I think, and I mean, all pun intended, I think they put themselves in a box, right? Like with their lyrics and whatever. There wasn't a whole lot until 2 Years to Never, I think, where they could have really branched out. Like there's one thing to be writing songs that, are obviously influenced by your faith and you may be upfront about it. There's another thing to writing songs like Ookla the Punk, right? Like,
right.
And so I don't know if that's kind of like what sort of like, I wouldn't be surprised if that held them back. I know they toured with, like fellow Christian scene bands, right? Like, for sure they toured with like the Supertones and stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to see what they played in 2011.
Yeah, they did some kind of like one-off show. I remember seeing.
That's crazy. I'm trying to look back on their like tour dates here, and some of them they've only got 9 concerts listed. Nice. I was trying to see if there's any like bands that I recognize that they played with. So in 2011. Okay, well, I mean, that can't be a thing. What? Rock the Bells 2011. There's no way they played this. This is a typo. It says with Childish Gambino, Mac Miller, Common, Cypress Hill, Lauryn Hill, and Mobb Deep.
That was
them. I guess they played a show much the same. They just released a record this year, didn't they? Yeah, they did.
Sure did. One of the best.
Yeah, that's debatable. But according to this, Ghoti Hook played a show with them in 2001. Skywave. There's one, MXPX with the Hippos. So there's a secular band. That was in 2000. I like how there's just like one-off shows here. Saturday, November 1st, 1997. Supertones with Stavesacre, Ghoti Hook, and Squad 5-0.
Nice.
October 18th, 1997. Five Iron Frenzy with Supertones, Ghoti Hook, Stavesacre. Five Iron Frenzy. That must have been a tour. That's a weird, what? Five Iron Frenzy with Johnny Respect and Ghoti Hook. Five Iron Frenzy, Ghoti Hook, Supertones, The Insiders. Frodis, Ghoti Hook, and Left Out. Yeah, like I only, outside of the odd band, they really only seem to play within their scene. I mean,
right.
that scene obviously being, not just confined to one geographic area, but I don't think they branched out too terribly much as far as playing with secular bands. And again, I think that all boils down to, the lyrics that they had going on for a lot of their songs. Because like pop punk at that time was still very much about being goofy, right? Like they're right in the mix as far as like era is concerned with like Blink-182 and stuff, who obviously were also writing joke songs alongside serious songs. They were just writing joke songs. Like Ghoti Hook was just writing joke songs that were a lot more niche.
Yes, very much so.
A lot more niche, and a niche that I think people were more likely to grow out of, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, whatever, but that's fine. And we talked briefly, we'll move into like transitions between albums, because this is interesting to me, because as far as I know, they had a member leave the band. And I think that's what maybe played a major role in Ghoti Hook, the change from Banana Man to 2 Years to Never.
Yeah, it was.
So Conrad. It says here on.
He was the bass player. I think it was the other guitar player. I'm blanking on his name. He's got a podcast too, but.
So this says on their Wikipedia, which could be wrong, it says Conrad, the guitar player and a primary songwriter of the band, decided to leave Ghoti Hook after the release of Banana Man and the subsequent tour promoting its release. He left the band when the band began to tour full-time so he could finish seminary and continue with his accounting career. Sounds like fun. But, I mean, let's talk about that, because the change, they release a covers album in between Banana Man and And
2 years.
And 2 Years to Never, which that covers album, I remember liking it a lot. And when I went back to it now, I don't like it nearly. There are still some good songs on there, but there's a few misses. There was one huge surprise. I do not remember them covering the Pixies.
Which song is that?
Where is my head or whatever?
Where is my mind? Oh
Where's
man,
My
that's
Mind?
like
Yeah.
the most memorable one for me on that.
Which is funny because, like immediately when I hear that, I'm taken back to Fight Club. It's the last song in Fight Club. And it's just
Okay.
like this incredible song, right? And, but yeah, I was like looking at the track list and was like, that can't be the same one. And so I put it on, I'm like, sure, it sure is. Like they definitely stretched themselves, I want to say the most on that song. But, yeah, like the first couple songs I definitely remember liking. Like I Love Rock and Roll, I think was on a Songs from the Penalty Box.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the
Earth
second
Angel.
one, I think.
Earth Angel I remember liking, and that just automatically makes me, because I think that's played in, like not the Ghoti Hook cover obviously, but I think it's in Back to the Future. There's like the high school bands, like the dance band sings it.
Yeah, like when there was these cover albums coming out, like I didn't really know any of these songs, so it was more or less like I'd be like sitting in the dentist chair 10 years ago and this song would come on and be like, oh, that's what this song sounds like. Or, whatever, the radio somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a specific song while I was at the dentist that came on. I can't remember which one it was, but...
Like on the Ghoti Hook covers album?
Yeah, one of those songs. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, weird. Like,
Well, it's funny because like they covered Just What I Needed, and which I think the Insiders also covered Just What I Needed on one of their albums. And like it's a Cars song, and so like it's got to be one of the most easily adaptable songs to cover.
yeah.
But at the same point, I'm like, I feel like so many bands have covered it, and that's probably why. I mean, their cover of Walking on Sunshine was kind of neat because they full on embrace the horns and the ska. I don't know who played horns on that.
That's a good one.
But it's pretty great. But yeah, there's just like some, like when because I think Acquiesce, I want to say,
That's a weird one.
is that a Tourniquet song? Like
Oh, really? Wow.
I'm not sure. They just jumped in on some where I was like, that's an odd choice.
Well, there's a lot of songs on that album too, so...
Yeah.
But I think it kind of in that era is when they, like, I don't know if it was covering those kind of more classic rock, so to speak, songs.
Sorry. Acquiesce was Stavesacre. I was like,
right. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I know it's
knew
a
that.
fellow like Tooth and Nail band.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the track listing here. So we got I Love Rock and Roll, which is Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Great song. Earth Angel, originally by the Penguins. True Faith, originally by New Order. Just What I Needed, originally by the Cars. Friends, originally by Michael W. Smith. Like that's
That's
okay.
what I'm talking about.
Acquiesce, originally by Stavesacre. I See Red, originally by X. Walking on Sunshine, originally by Katrina and the Waves. The guitar song, originally by Dead Milkmen. Like that's all of a sudden you're just like pulling in like old school punk songs. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey Noni Noni, originally by the Violent Femmes, which I didn't know they originally did that song. On the Road Again, originally by Willie Nelson. Where's My Mind, originally by the Pixies. Burn in Love, originally by Elvis Presley. And The Invisible Man, originally by the Vindictives. So there's definitely some
Quite an array.
interesting choices for a cover album there. But I also think there's too many, if I'm being honest. Like, I mean,
Yeah, that's a
counting
lot.
like the secret track, there's 15, so 14 songs. Like when I look at, say, like MXPX on the cover, which is an easily comparable album, I feel like they pulled it off better, just because they didn't overdo it. They only had 10 songs on that record.
Yeah, and they might have kind of pulled more songs from a similar era versus this one's kind of all over the place.
Sure. Yeah. So, but I came, going into this, I was like, oh man, I remember really liking that, and coming out, I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of that album. But it is interesting. I don't know if the fact that, they lost a member and things were changing, if that's why all of a sudden the Covers album was released, like why then? It's the timing seems like that could be, but then the fact that 2 Years to Never comes out and it's so different.
Yeah, it's an interesting shift.
It is. And honestly, I think, like, so 2 Years to Never, I said, was 2000, right? I'm curious to see. Oh, no, this was later. Was it
2002?
No, 2 Years to Never was for sure 2000. I'm looking
Oh,
at,
yeah, right. Sorry. Yeah, because I saw them, the first time I saw them live was, that album was out, I believe. So yeah, that would have been 2000, 2001 that I saw them for the first time.
Yeah. No, what I was trying to figure out is when. I'm just curious. Hold on. Building the tension.
But I remember being like kind of bummed out when I saw them that first time, because in my mind they were still, Banana Man punk.
Yep.
And they just kind of had like long hair and just didn't look at all how I thought they would. And there was a few guys missing, but it was still awesome. They still played a lot of those old songs. It was just
So
experience.
This is interesting. Let's see if we've got. Does this have any producer notes on it? Because there's something I was noticing on here. Photos and complete lyrics page, barcode. Oh, credits. No, that's just. Oh, producer Sean O'Dwyer. Now, hold on here. Does this have. Oh, this doesn't have credits. Dang it! There's a striking similarity for me in listening to this between 2 Years to Never and Squad 5-0 Bombs Over Broadway.
Yeah.
There is I mean, I don't know when it comes down to it which record is better, and they both came out in the year 2000. I was trying to see if potentially it was the same guy who worked on it, but
no, I think Bombs Over Broadway was with this big rock producer. So
yeah, it's possible.
2 years.
I
think I would take 2 Years to Never over.
Sean Dwyer worked on. That's interesting. So Sean Dwyer, I can't even say his name. The guy who produced Ghoti Hook's 2 Years to Never also went on to produce Phoenix TX Lechuza. Remember that?
Oh, cool.
Remember that album?
Oh, yeah.
Worked with Strife. That's pretty cool. And then he just. Oh, he must have he must have been engineering stuff before that. What did he engineer on? Anything worth noting? Because Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here Live. What? Anyway, that's just interesting. Yeah, I wish I knew who was on Bombs Over Broadway, because there's not only there's a definite I know people get not annoyed, I guess, but maybe bummed out about both of those records, right? 2 Years to Never, the change that Ghoti Hook underwent, and Squad 5-0, Bombs Over Broadway, the change that they underwent. And why that happened, I don't know, but they sound similar. I think Bombs Over Broadway, like Squad 5-0, they definitely dabbled more in the glam side. Yeah. They definitely pulled on New York Dolls sort of influence. Which is fine. There are some legit songs on that record still. But 2 Years to Never, I feel 2 Years to Never just got dark. It felt not full on dark, but I don't know if they experienced. There's a couple songs on there, I think Lullaby. I'm did someone pass away? Is he dealing with the death of someone, or the illness of someone? But it definitely from the Sunday school jokes. Sort of vibe that you get on those earlier Ghoti Hook albums into this, it definitely changes a little bit. You still have Chevy Nova, which is literally a song.
Yeah.
Which it's funny because listening to that song, I don't know what you want to call it, the bridge or whatever. He's I know you think your Honda hatchback's pretty cool. How he sings that, I'm all I can hear is Descendants. It just reminds me of Descendants. I'm okay, but
I really enjoyed that album. Actually, in my mind, I remember, being really annoyed that they changed their style so much. Maybe it's just years have passed now and I can appreciate it more. But I still now that I listen to it, I'm okay, this is still punk rock. It's definitely more on the rock side of things.
Yeah.
But it's not completely gone. It reminded me a lot of Green Day, that album.
Okay.
Not necessarily musically, but kind of sonically, just kind of simple.
Right.
Simple songs that aren't super punk, but they still kind of have that edge to it. They're still upbeat. It's kind of simple chord structures and catchy.
Yeah. They definitely, I want to say they got more melodic, 100%. Because they would, earlier, sometimes when I hear those early punk bands, Tooth and Nail bands too, just the fast chord changes, I feel they got away from that a little bit. Not being bam, 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 right? Definitely kind of opened it up a little bit. And listening to it now, I can remember there were a couple songs where I definitely liked, and then some songs where I was like, whereas like listening to it now, I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel if I were to go back and just be like, I just want to listen to one Ghoti Hook album, I would probably now go back to this one. I don't know that it's
interesting.
Yeah, like when it boils down to what my favorite is, like I don't think it's my favorite, but I do think like from start to finish, it's the most listenable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which says something. Like I feel like they grew up before their core audience grew up a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, that could have been.
And that happens with bands sometimes, right?
Yeah, well, for sure.
So
yeah, I'll still definitely go back and listen to that one. Actually, I just got it on CD this year.
Nice.
So pretty stoked to have that.
It's no Ookla the Punk though. But so you mentioned you actually got to see them live at some point?
Yeah. So I saw them just outside of Winnipeg. In 2000, 2001. And then I was at their their so-called final show before their
the 2011
other
show
shows they did.
Before they apparently played with Lauryn Hill and Cypress Hill and stuff like that. I don't know what that is. That's weird. I remember hearing about them getting, I think, back together, but for a show. But I don't know that was the show.
Yeah, but I got to be at their final show at Cornerstone, and it was amazing. And I mean, at that time, I probably I just graduated, so I mean, I was a little older than 13, but again, still like fairly out of it. Like I wasn't a part of some punk scene or whatever, so it was just kind of whatever I could get my hands on is what I knew. So it was like, oh, their final show, okay. Like,
so what were you?
Really have much context?
Did you just like go down to Cornerstone, or what were you there for? Like
Yeah,
you weren't in a band at that point, were you?
No, I just went just as an attendee.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I saw like all my favorite punk bands that year. It was amazing.
So tell me about that trip a little bit, because that's something that I'd often considered and wanted to do. But I mean, by the time I was an adult and could make that decision just purely on my own, I never had money for that.
Yeah, I mean, I was working at McDonald's, so I mean,
Sick.
I guess I kind of paid for it. Thanks, McDonald's.
Yeah,
you made my dreams come true.
Yes, McDonald's.
Yeah, there was a group from Winnipeg going, and I had known people that had gone before, and they just always came back with the coolest merch, and like I just couldn't believe all the bands I got to see, and it was just so crazy. Like it was, like so much crazier than I could have imagined, and just the people and the setting and just seeing so many bands and so much merch, and it was a dream come true.
Yeah, it is kind of a bummer, like growing up loving a lot of those bands that like made their name at Cornerstone and never, I mean, I shouldn't say never being able to go. I'm sure if I really, really wanted to, I could have figured out a way, but it never really being a realistic opportunity. Like being from the Winnipeg area, you would have been a lot closer to Illinois than I am being in Alberta, right? So like, that's a trek. I'm sure there were groups maybe that went, but there were no groups within my circle that were driving to like Bushnell, Illinois. Is that where it was?
Yeah.
That were driving there, right? So, but you gotta love like watching I think it was in the Tooth and Nail documentary, No New Kind of Story. They really did a chunk covering Cornerstone, or there was a documentary on Cornerstone. I can't remember, but I remember seeing a bunch of like kind of that background stuff and just being like, man, that would have been so awesome. And I know I wanted to go, but never made it. So that's pretty awesome that you got to go. But
no, it was awesome. Is like, all those bands were huge at Cornerstone. Like every Tooth and Nail band had a full tent. I don't know what that was, like 1,000 people, or probably
that sounds dirty.
That
having a full tent.
Okay. Well, it was hot and dusty.
Hey,
so
just trying to
13-year-old boys washing around.
Just trying to derail Aaron.
Whole tent full of 13-year-old boys singing their favorite band. So. Anyways, it was amazing. It was it was crazy.
I mean, that was definitely like the pilgrimage for Bible bookstore punks, right? Like to go to Cornerstone. And
well, there was so many other kinds of people there that I never would have fathomed.
Yeah.
Like there was like tons of like gothic, people and just everything. There was something for everyone there, and it was just so much different than me coming from a small town and just having, like jocks or car mechanics, basically, as the kind of people in town, or
the
whatever.
Dreams to aspire to. You can either be a jock or a mechanic. Yeah.
To go to a place where it's just like anything goes and everyone's accepted, and let's just have fun and listen to music all day and all night. And
yeah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I never actually got to see them live, so I did do a bit of digging on YouTube to see if I could come up with anything to kind of experience. So I found
there's not a ton there, but
no, I did find a full show that sounded okay. That was live in California. I don't remember where, but it was 1997. So that tour I looked up, I think someone in the comments had said like they saw them on that same tour. So it either was the same tour or kind of like just after, or Ghoti Hook played an extra date or whatever. But they were touring with the Supertones at the time. And so they're playing, it looks like it's like some kind of church basement or something, like a church gym type deal. And what I love is initially, like as soon as they start playing, it looks like there's maybe 20 to 50 kids there. I'm sure there is more than that, but that's what it looks like in the video. And they just like immediately blow up. Like they go off. The pit, like circle pits go on. I'm like, this is kind of cool. And then like very quickly within a couple songs, it dies down. And there's there's a couple that keep going. There's this one guy, he keeps walking past the camera. Cause like the camera, I don't know if you saw this one, but the camera's kind of set up to the like viewing from the left, cutting across a little bit. And there's this one guy that keeps walking past the camera. And he's just like, he's in the circle pit, but he's not doing anything. He's just walking around in circles.
A walking pit.
Yeah, it was the.
He's trying to get his 10,000 steps a day.
Right there, you go. He must have been turning 35 at the time. He looks like he could have been, so it's kind of funny. But I thought it was weird because they definitely spent a good amount of time like making fun of the crowd, and I was like, that's kind of. I was a little bit like, I mean, it was all ingested and fun and whatever, but I felt a little bit like, I don't know that you guys should have been doing that. Like, why would you go and just like mock your crowd, the people who have come to see you, especially since there are some that are clearly into you. I mean, you're not the biggest band, so like expecting them to like be 110 miles an hour from the, the first stick count sort of deal. Like I don't know that that's fair, but I was like a little bit. And then like their drummer would get up and he'd walk up from the drums to like the mic and like just like say corny, lame jokes. And I was like, yeah, like there was a reason. I mean, that was 1997. That was, I think Banana Man had just come out. So there was a reason, I think too, though, that they never really branched out. They pigeonholed themselves kind of a bit as a youth group band, which is unfortunate because I think there was a lot of potential there, and they did have some. Sure. They had some legit songs, but outside of, like I said, 2 Years to Never, I don't know if any of, on a majority sort of thing, listening to albums, if they hold up, right? You had mentioned this after we did our Offspring episode about how you're like, oh, I realized there's a number of Offspring songs I like. I should just make a playlist. Ghoti Hook would serve very well with that too, I think. Like if you could kind of cut around the cringy songs and just like get to like their solid songs. There's a good number of them, but I think for
maybe that's what the best of is. Tooth and Nail is like, all right, this is our chance to just put the good songs together. And
that's actually
sure
a good question.
Still some.
I'm curious. I'm going to go look and see what was on retrospective and see like
it's just
if we go through.
Just a best of the box.
Yeah, how many versions of the box made retrospective? Let's see. So we got Seasons, Shrinky Dinks, Track Boy. That was one of the songs too where I was like,
right, yeah,
wasn't big on it. Scared of My Bike, Estevan, Love by the Numbers, Just Fools, Give Me a Chance, Where's My Mind? Good call. One Step Away, good song. Lullaby, great song. Chevy Nova, Next to Me. So they did cut a lot of those like really cheesy songs. I mean, My Bike still makes it, but My Bike is still great. It's lighthearted, but it's great. Speaking of, the thing I like about My Bike, no, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to get into music videos, how they only had one music video, but I found like a fan made video for My Bike. It is so hilariously terrible. Like,
man.
if anyone listening to this is like, a Ghoti Hook fan, do yourself a favor, go look it up. It's pretty good. No, do it. Do it.
If you're an actual fan, you won't do it.
Do it. Live life a little bit. Give those kids some, and they've got, I want to say they were in like around 15,000 views on that video. I didn't bother looking at the comments or the likes versus dislikes, but people were on it. They only had, I think, the one video though, like for Shrinky Dinks is the only music video.
Yeah, I remember that being on an old Tooth and Nail VHS compilation.
Yeah, so I actually, I had it on, because I did have a VHS. I can't remember which VHS it was, but eventually I bought the Tooth and Nail Videography 1993 to 1999 DVD.
Oh, yeah.
So sick. Like, so it had every single one of their music videos that was produced in that time. So Shrinky Dinks is on there.
Awesome.
It also, what else did it have on there? It had all the MXPX videos up to that time, so up to Life in General. Because I mean,
some Slick Shoes, Joe's Sick.
Yeah, they had Joe's Sick on there. They had Value Pack Graduation Day. They had some Supertones videos, because then they also had like the BEC side and the Solid State. So like Stretch Armstrong had a video on there. There was a bunch. Like,
I need to try to find a copy of that.
Yeah, I definitely don't have it anymore.
That's a bummer.
No, it was so good. I'm sure. Oh, like Outer Circle was on there.
Oh yeah, awesome.
There was a bunch of Huntington's Pool Party was on there.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a bunch, and I mean, obviously, all the like Tooth and Nail, like more alternative bands too, like Plank Eye and Morella's Forest and Starflyer, stuff like that. They were all on there too. It was so good. It's definitely worth finding. It'd be great if that was actually just on YouTube as one continuous stream, just start to finish, all the videos.
Yeah, that would be.
It's pretty good stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because I did wish they had more videos, because that was the thing. Anytime I see them, I was like, that's what they look like, because I don't recall them really having pictures in their album. Like, I don't think was there a band picture in Banana Man? There must have been, but like,
yeah, there was pictures of them eating bananas.
Hilarious. But like, they definitely never, like, as far as that's concerned, like I definitely don't remember seeing a bunch of pictures of them and like being able to kind of like, if I were to see them in a lineup, be able to pick them out, being like, oh, those are the guys from Ghoti Hook, or you know what I mean? Like,
and I had a killer Ghoti Hook poster.
Nice.
And the singer was given like the devil horns or whatever, and I remember it being so controversial.
Your mom tore it down.
Oh,
Get that off the wall!
What that was, but I just like, I don't know where I would have seen it. Maybe in magazines, like Letter to the Editor or something stupid. But yeah, I just remember being like, man, they look so awesome, that poster. I wish I had that one still.
Yeah, they're an interesting band for me in the sense that, like, Banana Man, like when I think about that time, and specifically I think about, say, like the Christian punk bands, they are always, I want to say, for the straight up like kind of punk bands, they probably come in as like the third band that I think of. Like, you know, MXPX, Slick Shoes, maybe Dogwood / Ghoti Hook, right?
Yeah.
But like, they're a band that I never, like, I couldn't tell you, like I said, what they looked like. I couldn't really tell you how they dressed. I remember in the Shrinky Dinks video, one of the members was like sitting in a shopping cart getting pushed around, and it's like this kind of like time lapse sort of thing. And he's looking all around, and then for like a good couple seconds, he just like deadpan stares at the camera. And I thought it was amazing. I thought that was so funny, because it's just like this random spastic thing going on. And all of a sudden he's just like staring at the camera. I was like, that's kind of funny. But like, visually, I don't remember anything really about the band until I think they were just wearing all black eventually.
Yeah, I remember in the Banana Man, well, the drummer had bleached hair and like ball chain around his wrists and neck, and
probably had the same look as everyone else. Yeah. It's the same look as the California punk bands, but I don't believe they were from California.
They were from the East Coast.
Are they East Coast? Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I think Pennsylvania might be right. I'm on their Wikipedia. We're just going to scroll up. Fairfax, Virginia. So,
or Virginia, yeah, right.
Yeah, so I mean, cool on them, I guess, for like, because a lot of those bands initially were all like California bands. I mean, obviously MXPX weren't California band, but they were West Coast at least. So like they're, you know, these guys are from out there, so that's kind of cool. But I mean, I still look back fondly on Ghoti Hook. They were, I definitely think they were they were a place in time band. Right? Like, as much as I talk about, you know, like with The Offspring, I was saying like, oh, you know, it's fun to go back and watch like these performances because they're literally like a time capsule. The Offspring, I think, are a band that still wrote songs that were kind of timeless to move forward, right? Like, I mean, obviously, Ghoti Hook were never on the same level as The Offspring by any stretch of the imagination. So that definitely plays a part. But like, a lot of those songs, I mean, the cringy songs by The Offspring, I don't like them anymore, even though they were huge. But like, they definitely have some timeless songs. Ghoti Hook, you know, they're more of like a place and time where specifically I'm like, yep, I'm back in youth group. I'm, you know, doing the all-nighter playing hockey video games with, you know, my buddies in youth group or whatever, right?
Sweet.
Like, yeah, playing like NHL 98 or something, 97. John Van Beesbrook was on the cover of NHL 97, and I was playing it to Ghoti Hook.
Is that the guy from Dawson's Creek? James Vanderbeek?
Oh, man. Dawson's Creek. Don't even get me started. Did you ever watch Dawson's Creek? We're going to start a Dawson's Creek podcast.
It is so cringy. I cannot handle it.
Sure it is. But there were like, I actually, a few years ago, I went and I bought the entire series on DVD, like off Amazon or whatever. And because I wanted to watch it, like I will shamelessly say one of my all-time favorite TV shows is The OC. So
okay, yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah, but like I'm a sucker for like teen melodrama shows, right?
Yeah.
And so knowing that Dawson's Creek was essentially like not series wise, but like was a predecessor to The OC. Like they crossed over a tiny bit at the end of Dawson's Creek at the beginning of The OC. Went, oh, I got to watch this show. And there were some points in that show where I loved it so much. In the end, it was just way too long is the problem.
Yeah.
It was like 6 seasons, and I think every season except for the first one were like 20 some episodes. I'm like, it's too much. But I would gladly
Too much Vanderbeek.
I would gladly start a Dawson's Creek episode though. Podcast. One episode by episode breakdown and recap. Dawson's Creek.
Nasty.
No. But yeah, anyway. That I don't think I could actually live through that. Eventually it would get the best of me. But speaking of places and times, and then Dawson's Creek eventually ended up on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. So then I just got rid of all my DVDs. I'm like, well, I'm not going to need these anymore. I think I sold them. Along with some other TV shows so I could buy records. But the best part is the Dawson's Creek box set. I legit was missing a disc. Somehow in the time I lost it. And there were just so many discs that they had no idea.
Yeah.
So someone potentially bought that Dawson's Creek box set, and it was missing some critical episodes, I'm sure. And I apologize, but hey.
Maybe you were doing that person a favor.
It's possible. So before we wrap up, we got a couple of things we will talk about. Do you have a favorite album and a favorite song by Ghoti Hook?
I got to go with Banana Man. That's the one that was
as album
the
or
most
song?
Influential.
Banana Man.
Well, album for sure. Yeah, I don't know if I have. Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite song off of there. I love singing along to most all that album. Yeah, I don't know if they're a band that really has a song that stands out.
And you picked them. You picked them. What the heck, man?
Yeah, but like, I mean, I've said before, lots of bands, especially of that era and that genre.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have favorite songs. Like,
right.
And the album as a whole is more what I remember because back then we didn't just listen to songs, we listened to albums, and so to me it stands out more as an album than a specific song.
And I mean, to be fair, also last week when you announced who we were doing next, you said it's an oldie but a decent one. They're decent. No, I agree in like I think Banana Man being my favorite album, and I kind of like I hesitate a little bit to say it. Now, I will give it this. Sumo Surprise, it's just too cheesy at times for me. Banana Man grows a little bit, and some of those songs that are, you know, like sort of lame, jokey songs are a little less cringy. Like My Bike is great, Banana Man, whatever, right? Like they're just more fun songs. It's definitely the album I'm most connected to.
Yeah.
I think, like, and I mentioned earlier, I think honestly though, if I were to go back and listen to an album for the sake of listening, I would go with 2 Years to Never now. But I'm going to say Banana Man is my favorite. Like, it's easily the one I've listened to the most. However, favorite song, hands down, no doubt, no question.
Speak it.
Going through this process that we just went through, and by process, I just mean listening to music, is Lullaby. Holy crap, I forgot how good that song was. Like, it's got...
Yeah, it's in my head right now.
Yeah, and you know what I loved about that record, though, 2 Years to Never, as I listened to it? I could start hearing some more influences. Like, Lullaby, I hear that song, and I go, man, like, I could legit picture this being on another band we've interviewed on the show, a No Motive record. Like, the chords that they're playing, I mean, maybe, I'm trying to think if I remember any No Motive songs having piano on them, even though the piano plays a very small part in that song. But... yeah. But, like, that song, and it's got that, like, a dark, like, I don't know. That's one of those songs where I'm like, I don't know if someone died or if someone was sick or whatever, but it's such a good song. And I also think, like, on that record, if you want to talk about a band that was still, you know, like, their songs were still influenced by their faith, they were doing it in such a more real way on that record. That, it wasn't like Sunday school in your face sort of thing. It was just grounded in more real life stuff. And again, that could be, I don't know, but that could be because, you know, they went through some stuff, right? Like
the drummer was really sick during the recording process. That's what that song's about.
Yeah. Could you imagine? He had a really bad cold. And he just wanted to go
sang him lullabies in the studio to help him get through it.
And instead they're like, we're going to play a really hard driving song. And instead of you sleeping through the cold, we're literally going to blast it out of your face by playing some, you know, like some giant guitars. But yeah, no, that song, I would go back and listen to it again. And sometimes, like, there was a couple times over this past week where I like would put it back on. It would finish, and I'd be like, no, I can't go on to the next song yet. I want to hear Lullaby again because it's just so good. But yeah, so hands down for me, without a doubt, that is my favorite Ghoti Hook song. I don't know the words as well as, you know, like My Bike or, you know, some of those other songs or The Box. This one's called The Box Food Lion. Rawr! Like, I never understood that, but yeah, such a good song. So in doing this, spending the past week, you know, listening to Ghoti Hook maybe a little more than you have in the last few number of years, would you say that your appreciation for the band has grown, stayed the same, or has it kind of taken a step back?
Yeah, I would say grown. And just for the record, I've kind of always listened to them. I always, at least once a year, if not more, we'll bring their albums out. And yeah, like I said before, like I think with some of the later, some of the later albums, I can appreciate them more and for what they are instead of for what I wish they would have been when they came out.
Yeah.
I would say I'm still appreciative. Besides their last, which we didn't really touch on, their final EP, which was just pretty much unrecognizable as Ghoti Hook and hard to listen to. So we'll just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, I'd say for me, on the whole, I want to say my appreciation stayed about the same, and that's because I think it took some steps back in regards to some albums, but some pretty big steps forward in regards to other albums. And when I say other albums, I mean other album, because I think like my appreciation for 2 Years to Never definitely grew, and my appreciation for, you know, maybe Banana Man took a bit of a step back. My appreciation for the covers album for sure took a step back. But yeah, so for the most part, I would say it stayed about the same. But I do have a new record and a new song for sure. Like what I need to start doing is when we do these episodes, I'm just going to start building a playlist. And
that would be cool.
On that playlist, it's just going to be like my favorite songs or whatever. Now, Aaron, this is the part in the show, because you chose last time, where you have to ask me what we're doing next. And you don't know.
Mr. Dave, what's coming up there, boy?
Okay, so here's a hint. All right, let's see if you can figure this out. So we just finished talking about Ghoti Hook, and we both agreed their best album, like kind of in a place in heart sort of deal, was Banana Man. Banana Man came out in 1997. Okay, this band's, I don't know if it's their highest selling. I'm going to guess it is. Definitely their most well-known song is on this album. Came out in 1997 as well. However, this was not their first or second album. Their first album came out in 1991, so they're a little older. And their most recent full length came out, it looks like, in 2018. Still going. They have, let me double check, been on the exact same label this entire time. 1990. Go on.
This is the first band that comes to mind as the Presidents of the United States. Because of their song Peaches or whatever.
Yeah,
You said
no.
Banana. So.
No, they've been on. Okay, this is maybe this hint will make it a little easier. They're on Epitaph Records all the way from 1991. They're still on them to this day.
Oh, isn't that like the whole roster? Well, that's too hard to.
There's going to be.
I need another hint.
Okay, I'll give you the hint. This may just give it away. I'll give you.
That could be like Pennywise.
You nailed it. Just stop right there. It's Pennywise. We're doing Pennywise next.
Oh, awesome. Sweet.
That could be Pennywise.
Okay.
No, it is Pennywise. There you go. So Full Circle came out in 1997. Of course,
Man,
Full Circle
dang.
is the only Pennywise album I really know.
Oh, man.
In fact,
Their latest one was on my top list last year.
nice.
So
I was
still amazing.
See, and that was the thing is my next hint was gonna be their latest album is called Never Gonna Die.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would have known that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So like I look at this list of albums.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. So
Thankfully, I've listed to like 10 of them already this year. So I'm
nice.
good.
That's perfect. So Full Circle is like the only one that I mean, I may know a bit of Pennywise. Like I'm just like looking at the covers and maybe All or Nothing. 2012 though. I mean, I may have checked it out when it came out. But yeah, so Pennywise is what is up next. This should be interesting because I don't really have a lot to say. Like they are a band that when I think about, like being exposed to punk rock, they were definitely one of those bands where friends were listening to Pennywise.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, like I'll have things to say, but as far as like looking at that library, I'm curious to see what I actually know by them. Like Full Circle, I've listened to countless times. The rest of that library, who knows? So,
oh man, there's so many good albums in there, man. You're in for a treat.
And I've got if
you can handle a lot of albums that are similar.
And I've got a great story about seeing them live.
Sweet.
Yeah. So
yeah, looking forward to it, man. I'm stoked.
Nice. Anyways, that is going to wrap this episode up of Growing Up Punk. Of course, if you want to find us, we are on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is at Growing Punk Pod. Instagram is at Growing Up Punk. I myself, David, am on Twitter and Instagram at David Growing Up. Aaron, throwing this out there, he's on Instagram as well. This is your cue.
Aaron grew up punk.
There you go.
Yes, I did.
You got to send that guy requests though. He's not just like open and just like, yeah, come on.
I'll add you if you don't have a number at the end of your name because those are always sketchy. like
literally,
David 7630.
Yeah, literally
wants to start a chat with you.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny because like one of my best friends growing, like easily like my best friend in high school and whatnot. When I think about like his Instagram name, it totally has a number at the end of it. So you wouldn't add him even though he's the greatest
sometimes
dude.
You can just tell from the pictures too.
Yeah, he was my ride to so many shows.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, so you can find us on all the social net. We are on Facebook as well. You can look up Growing Up Punk, and then wherever you're listening to this, you can subscribe, rate, review. We're in the middle of this whole thing. I mean, this episode may have already had it. I'm talking about Aaron and I were talking about maybe adding some production value back into the show. So that may have already happened for this episode. And if it did happen, you're either not going to be able to find it on YouTube or you're going to find a very different version of it on YouTube because YouTube and music licensing and stuff is a mess. Videos get blocked all the time. I like you to be able to hear the music. I know Aaron loves hearing music. So, so this is all just like, what? In case you're wondering, you used to always watch it on YouTube or something. And now it's not there. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, wherever you listen to it, subscribe, rate, review, tell your friends, that kind of stuff, so we can grow the Growing Up Punk family, the Growing Up Punk group of grown-ups.
There we go.
Welcome to the Gupgog. Growing Up Punk group of grown-ups. Anyways, that is going to do it for this episode before we ramble on too long. So, adios, friends.
See ya.